Hey guys, welcome back to the New 9 Golf YouTube channel. I'm your host, Brandon Cubitt, and today we're going to talk about becoming a better golfer. How do you go about finding a coach and taking your game to where it is, to obviously where you want to be, where you want your goals within your golf game. I personally started working out at a company called GOLFTEC, and what GOLFTEC does is they're a year-round golf training facility, and they have obviously teaching professionals that really help you become a better golfer. So this video is not sponsored by GOLFTEC. I'm just going to tell you my own personal experience, and then later in the episode we're going to talk with one of their coaches. So I started back in 2015. I was roughly maybe a 12 handicap, kind of a weekend player. I played maybe 3, maybe 4 times a week. Loved golf, but really didn't have any instruction. It was more or less just a feel sport. That playing other sports like hockey and baseball, I had some decent hand-eye coordination, but I was never kind of taught some fundamentals and why you do things and why you don't do other things. So I looked out and I reached out to this company called GOLFTEC. So I started doing lessons with them, and instantly I learned so many things that I never knew about the golf swing and the mechanics and the fundamentals that really turned me into a better player. So now it is 2020, and 5 years later, I went from maybe a 12 to 13 cap. Now I'm a plus cap, and I attribute a lot of it to GOLFTEC. Obviously you need to practice and play a lot, but it was those fundamentals that I learned at GOLFTEC which made me a better player. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw it over to one of the lead coaches in all of Southern Alberta, Josh Fleming. So Josh sat down with us at his practice course, Valley Ridge in Calgary, to tell us kind of about his story and how GOLFTEC is helping other golfers become obviously better. So what we're going to do, we'll throw it over to Josh, and I hope you enjoy this interview. Okay guys, hey, welcome back to New 9 Golf Podcast. Today we're at the beautiful Valley Ridge Golf Course in Northwest Calgary. We picked an awesome sunny day in October to get shooting here. And we're with a good buddy of ours, Josh Fleming. So I know Josh through the GOLFTEC system. So tell us a little bit about GOLFTEC and then Valley Ridge, where we are today.
Sure. So, GOLFTEC, I've been with GOLFTEC for 7 years, going on 8 here, I think, in November. I mean, time flies. GOLFTEC is just this awesome avenue to help people play better golf, right? I'm passionate about playing the game. I'm passionate about teaching the game, and GOLFTEC is really a great environment to help players become better at the game. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. Valley Ridge, we do all our outdoor stuff here at Valley Ridge. It's a beautiful setting right by the Bow River here. Fall colors are out right now, so it's gorgeous. But just a really fun golf course. If you haven't played it, it's worth a play. Front 9, back 9 are a little different than one another, but I mean, just a great setting and a fun golf course to play.
Give us a little bit of the psychology behind GOLFTEC and how you're turning players from a higher handicap and helping them become better golfers.
Yeah, that's a really good question, right? Most people come to GOLFTEC, I'll be honest, at their wits' ends with the game. They're kind of confused, or they've watched hundreds of YouTube videos and they can't figure it out on their own. So, the owner of GOLFTEC every once in a while says we're the last resort for golfers until they hang the clubs up. And, fortunately, we have a tremendous amount of great coaches in the system who are really good at helping players just develop and get better at golf, right? So every program that we do is tailored to the specific needs of the golfer. We don't just rely on grip, stance, posture, and alignment. We like to get to the root cause of what's leading to bad golf and go from there.
What are the types of students that you're currently working with? Are you just working with low handicaps, or is it kind of a mix of everyone?
Oh man, you know what? This summer specifically, golf has just exploded. We're seeing coming through the door any golfer from a 36 handicap all the way, we don't have too many scratch players, but to the very good amateur player. And then of course beginners, people who just haven't picked up the golf club and are smart enough to want to get started on the right foot, recognizing that, a GOLFTEC program might really help them do that.
To someone that's never been to a GOLFTEC, what would they expect the first time that they come into one of your guys' bays?
Yeah, so when you come into a GOLFTEC bay, it's a little different than being at a green grass facility, It's very private. There's nobody else around except for you and the coach. And then you can expect someone on the other side of you who cares about how you play the game, right? I would say, so just customer service, someone that's really interested in helping you be better. From an actual physical side, we use cameras on every golf swing imaginable. So every time you hit the ball, you're on video. Every time you hit a ball, we're going to show you what that ball flight was with launch monitor data. So if it's slicing outside, we'll show you that it's slicing inside. And then regularly, before COVID, we had motion measurement, which measured how the body was moving in the golf swing. And what's really cool is at GOLFTEC, we've correlated how the body moves to certain golf shots. Now, we don't have that right now because of COVID, but we will be putting in that same system, but better here in the next few months. But instead of wearing sensors, it used to be on the shoulder and on the hips, it'll all be wireless and sensorless. So we will be measuring what the body is doing, correlating that to ball flight data without having to wear any sensors or any markers, which is really revolutionary and something that we're all pretty excited about.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Give me an idea of kind of the differences between a 36 handicap, a 10 handicap, and then a scratch player. What are the differences that you see in those students that you have?
Yeah, you know, the 36 handicap sometimes is, I would say, lacks just a little bit of awareness of what the club is doing, what their body is doing through the strike. So with that player, it's really about helping them understand just how the body moves athletically through the backswing and into the finish position. Usually really working on contact, right? Getting more consistent contact. You know, probably some more fundamentals. As you get into that 10 handicap, 10 to 12, which is, you know, I find probably the sweet spot of GOLFTEC. One of them would be taking a 12 down to an 8 or a 7. That's a good question. What I would find with those players is probably sometimes not really an understanding of what's leading them to play poor golf from time to time. You know, everybody has this preconceived notion as to why they hit bad shots, but in the most humble way possible, not everybody understands actually what's happening. So with that player, it's just about helping them hone themselves in, probably developing a practice program so that as we work on their golf swing, they can be practicing. And you know, that 8 to 12 is probably slicing the golf ball. Decent contact, quite a fade, usually over the top, if you will. Just trying to help them swing it a little more into out, get it on a proper plane, and usually it all funnels from there.
Do you have many guys that are single digit or scratch players?
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, I've been at GOLFTEC for a while, helped lots of those players. You know, as you get into that better level, a scratch player or a low handicap, you know, you're usually looking at fine-tuning the face-to-path relationship. Not to be too confusing with the face-to-path, but really just dialing in what the club head is doing through the strike.
Okay.
Usually dealing with someone who's quite athletic and understands how to play the game, but just taking that miss from missing greens by 5 yards to, you know, hitting the outer edges of the green, or instead of hitting 8 fairways around, hitting 9 or 10, and then short game.
Right. Well, I am a
short game matters.
I am a product of the GOLFTEC system that I went to you guys. This is going back maybe 5-6 years ago as like a 10 to 12 cap, and I'm proud to say that now I'm a plus, and a lot of it is due to the fundamentals that I learned through you guys, and then obviously practice is, you can't replace practice, right? Yeah. You have to learn those things and then, you know, try them on the range.
Yeah.
But I am interested in your playing career as a junior. How did you get into golf? Where did you start? And then when did you transition into coaching?
For sure. You know what? I started junior golf when I was probably about 10 or 11. I played at Mackenzie Meadows down in the south of Calgary. My mom and dad, they came home with a junior pass and said, "You want to play golf?" And I was like, "What's golf?" You know, obviously I knew what golf was, but it was kind of unique. I was like, "Sure, I'll try it." And you know, I was typical Canadian, was a hockey player, and started hitting golf balls, and just got into it that way. You know, I was fortunate. I got some success really early on. I'll tell you a story. So my first golf tournament I ever played was the Calgary City Junior. I was 13, 2-day event at Maple Ridge down in the south. And I was nervous, and I didn't know a whole lot of other juniors in the city because just didn't have a lot of friends that played golf. And my mom drops me off day one, and I don't remember what I shot. It must have been like 82 or 83, which I thought was pretty good, right? 13 years old. And then day two, it was the first time I broke 80. I shot 78 or 79.
Nice.
And I won the tournament for my age group. And my mom comes to pick me up, and I'm holding this trophy, and I could remember, she's like, "Oh, you must be able to play this game all right." And you know, that was kind of a defining moment in golf, was really early, kind of going, hey, that was really fun getting some success in a tournament. And I just kind of rode that wave. You know, I didn't have the junior career where I won the Alberta Junior or competed at a high level at the Canadian Junior. I played those events, you know, made some teams, but never any big wins. Certainly club championship along the way here or there. But, you know, after junior golf, it was, you know, I never really had the goal of of playing golf in the U.S. on a scholarship. My education was more important to me. It took me a long time to get that education, but it was more important. So I actually went to school in Nova Scotia at Acadia, kind of left the golf clubs by the side for a little while, and a series of events led me the following year to play on the golf team at U of Vic, which was super fun. Actually, I know Todd Halpin was on your podcast earlier.
Yeah.
Played with him for a year, but I only played a year on the team. And then honestly, at that time, it was kind of like, well, you know, I kind of enjoyed playing university golf for a year. Again, never really had a really awesome university career through a few events, which I was okay with, but made the decision to get my pro card at 18 or 19 and just start teaching golf because I love teaching golf. So that's really how I become an instructor, was just enjoying the teaching process and wanting to help other golfers.
Did you get your pro card the first kick of the can, or did it take you a couple tries to get it?
You know what I did? I got it my first try. You know, fortunately, I was too young to realize the pressure that came along with it. You know, at the time I was probably playing to a plus handicap, so I think when I did it, it was 78. So the scores weren't intimidating, if you will. Cool story to that one. My dad was on the bag for me.
No way.
Yeah, so he caddied for 2 days, and we had a couple arguments out on the golf course. The second hole was at Royalwood in Chilliwack, and I hit 2 balls out of bounds. So of course you start going, okay, I had this many shots to play with. Now I only have this many, and he tried to get me to change clubs, and I was having none of that. And long story short, I hit the next one up the middle, and the third hole, he's like, here, hit a different club. I'm like, no, and I stuck to my game plan, but he remembers the story, and it was he just about went that way, and I just about went the other way.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, I ended up shooting a decent number, and it was really cool getting my pro card with my dad on the bag. So,
oh, good for you.
Yeah,
That's
one of my
cool.
cooler golf stories.
I know a lot of guys that have gone, 5 or 6 times and still haven't gotten it. That for whatever reason, the pressure, I can imagine to be similar to like Q school, PGA Tour level. That you see something that you want to get, and it's tough to put all those emotions into a fluid golf swing.
Yeah.
Where did you get your first coaching gig?
You know, my first coaching gig, it wasn't really a coaching gig. I was an assistant professional at Gallagher's Canyon in Kelowna, which, if you haven't played there, it's worth the play. It's probably my favorite golf course all time.
Really?
Yeah, I just love it out there. So I was just in the golf shop, and obviously I knew I could teach, and I just gravitated towards teaching a ton while I wasn't working in the golf shop. And looking back on it now, I feel bad I charged people for the advice I gave, right? And I'm sure that lots of, experienced golf professionals would say that now.
Right.
But you hone your craft and, stuck with it out there, and obviously started to teach quite a bit. And just always listened to those around me and enjoyed coaching the game. So
when did you make the transition to GOLFTEC?
Yeah, you know what, I got to be honest, I came upon GOLFTEC by fluke. I'd moved from Gallagher's Canyon in Kelowna as the associate professional and golf shop manager, director of instruction, kind of held all roles out there at some point or another. And I moved to Fort McMurray for the head professional job at Miskinaw. And that didn't last very long. I was only there for a year. And then decided, well, I'm not in Fort McMurray anymore, and it had been a while since I'd been in Alberta, so I actually didn't know a lot of golf pros to phone for a job, right? If it was BC, I would have known some people to phone and so forth, but I came across the GOLFTEC posting on the PGA of Alberta website, and I was like, oh, I'll figure this out. So I looked into GOLFTEC a little. I didn't know anything about GOLFTEC at the time. I didn't even know anything. And like, oh, that's kind of neat. And sure enough, I go back the next day to put my resume in and apply, and the posting was gone. So I must have missed the deadline. So I ended up emailing the CEO of GOLFTEC Canada and just saying, hey, this is Josh Fleming from Fort McMurray. I saw a posting, and long story short, he put me in touch with Tiffany Gordon, who at the time was overseeing the franchise in Edmonton. And Tiffany was a mentor of mine growing up. So at that point, it was a really easy phone call and a really smooth transition into starting at GOLFTEC just a month later. So
that's cool.
Kind of a neat story how it all worked out.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Can you think of the best day you ever had on the golf course?
Yeah, I can.
Where
it was about a month ago, 2 months ago.
What happened?
Well, this is just one good day. I mean, I've had hundreds of good days, but I found out on a Thursday night, I think it was early July, that my wife was pregnant.
No.
Yeah,
That's
which was
awesome.
super cool. And if anybody plays golf, they know that golf is easier when life is good.
Right.
GOLFTEC's had a really good summer, so from a work side, I was in a good spot. Obviously just found out my wife was pregnant, so that was incredibly exciting. I came out here to Valley Ridge the next day and I shot 62.
Come on.
Yeah, so, you know, I know a lot of guys have, you know, low numbers out there, but just tying the 62 to the best news of my life the day prior, I just think there's a synergy there.
That's awesome.
You know, it was kind of a shirt untucked, a few beers with the boys type round, and it just felt like golf was easy that day, easier than ever, right? I don't make a lot of putts when I play golf, and I made a couple that day.
There you go.
Yeah, that was probably one of my best golf days.
Congrats. Congrats on the baby on the way, and then obviously on the 62. Have you
Nice.
been lower than 62 before? What's your record?
I shot 58 on a simulator one time, but I don't know if that counts.
Does that count? I don't know if the simulator round counts.
No, 62 is my career low.
Good for
sure.
you.
Yeah.
Have you shot a couple times?
No, before that it was 63 at Gallagher.
Any
Standard.
bogeys?
The 63 I had one or two actually. The 62 was no bogeys.
Good for you. Congrats. Is that a course record here? Do you know?
I have no clue. I'd be honest, I wasn't playing the back tees. I was playing one up.
Yeah.
You know, I picked up a couple of this length or so that's okay. I'm not worried about the course record.
Yeah.
It was just a fun day.
That's cool how that all happened. Can you think of maybe the worst day of golf you ever had?
No, not off the top of my head. You know, I can think of like bad rounds where, you know, if you've played any competitive golf, it's amazing how lonely you can feel on a golf course from time to time. You know, and you feel like when you're playing bad golf that everything in your life is bad. Truth is, it's not.
Right.
Right. So, you know, I try and minimize that from happening now that I'm older. Right. I mean, in your mid-20s and you're in a tournament and you're 5 or 7 over through 6 holes, kind of go, well, why do I even do this?
Yeah.
Right. But now I got to be honest, if I'm out on the golf course, I'm out there to enjoy my time.
Can you think of a new 9 that you've had on the golf course?
A new 9 on the golf course. Yeah, you know, we were talking about this before we got on. Not really off the top of my head. I think a lot of tournaments, if I were to look at a 2-day tournament as the first 18 being the front 9 and the second 18 being the back 9, I definitely quite a few times have gone, you know, kind of that 76, 68 type action. You know, just trying to forget what happened the day prior.
Yeah.
I've always looked on the golf course as it's just 18 holes and one shot at a time, like truly. And I know that everybody says that, but you know, as a good player, I really try and do that.
Okay.
So,
how about a new 9 in life? Can you think of something that resonates with you?
Yeah, new 9 in life. Not off the top of my head, but what I would say is I feel like I'm embarking upon my next 9. I would say, you know, I mentioned earlier that my wife has a baby on the way. We're excited about that, and I just got married a year and a bit ago. So I feel like the 20s, early 30s of being able to kind of freewheel it on the golf course, play a lot of golf, and that type of position. I'm moving into kind of that next stage of a golf career, if you will, of, you know, probably playing a little bit less and the priorities in my life changing.
Right.
Which I'm pretty excited about.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Is there any affiliations that you have with either club manufacturers or clothing companies?
Yeah, I mean, I play Callaway, right? I love the Callaway product, not to talk too much about it, but their driver changed my driving of the golf ball this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what? It's just forgiving, right? Like the Maverick driver, it's quite forgiving. Even on an off-center hit, I just feel like I'm getting a consistent distance off the driver, even if I miss the middle a little bit. Their wedges are fantastic. I played the Mickelson grind last year, and this year I think it's the Mac Daddy 5 now. Mac Daddy wedge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it.
Oh, good.
And Adidas has always been clothing that I've worn, but yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If someone watching this has never been to a GOLFTEC or seen, you know, how to get a lesson, what can they do to start the process to try out GOLFTEC?
Yeah, you know what? The best thing to do is just give us a call, right? You know, all our phone numbers just on Google. If you type GOLFTEC Calgary, there's 2 in Calgary. Phone numbers will pop up on the side, or go to golftech.com, right? All of the information is on golftech.com. You can book online, right? But I would definitely recommend just giving the GOLFTEC closest to you a phone call, because someone will pick up the phone, and if they don't, they'll give you a call back and have a personal conversation about your golf game. And, you know, hopefully if you phone, you don't feel like you're getting the sales pitch on the phone, but you're talking to someone who wants to see you play better golf.
Right. Well, I can definitely vouch for GOLFTEC that I'm a product of the GOLFTEC system. It's helped my game tremendously. Like I said, this is not paid by GOLFTEC. Josh is someone that I know through the GOLFTEC system, that he's got a lot of obviously great insight to help you guys become better golfers. That's all that I have for us. That wraps up our interview. Thank you so much for having us out at the beautiful Valley Ridge. We picked a great day. Thanks again, and hopefully we can talk to you down the road.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Josh. I think, you know, as an experienced coach, there's so many advantages to learning with a teaching professional that it doesn't matter if it's in a GOLFTEC or at your local course or another training facility. It's so worth having a coach. It doesn't matter if you're trying to obviously, you know, play college golf or you're just a weekend warrior. I think golf is more enjoyable the better that you play. So why not have a lesson or two to, you know, start to learn some of those fundamentals. That wraps us up for today. So I appreciate you guys watching. Support your local golf community. We're running out of days here in Calgary. We got 4 or 5 rounds left in us. Maybe if you're somewhere nice and warm, I'm obviously jealous of you that you get to play more than us, but support your local golf community where you can. Buy some stuff in the pro shop, go for a lesson or two, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the golf season, and maybe next year you'll be a better golfer. So thanks again for watching, and we'll check in with you next time.